What's up, guys? This is Chris from DraftDashboard.com.
Here are my DFS picks for NFL Week 11, Thursday Night Football.
These picks apply for DraftKings and FanDuel. Before I get started, please drop a like on this video and hit that red subscribe button
And hit that bell icon
so you don't miss our new videos.
Okay, in this video, I'm going to give you my top picks for the Thursday Night Football Showdown between the New England Patriots and the Atlanta Falcons. And if you stick around to the very end of this video, we'll use the Draft Dashboard tools to make a DFS lineup using the picks we just made. Oh, and good news, guys. Make sure to stay tuned to the very end of this video because we removed the box that was popping up and blocking the lineup. So now you can see a full lineup using these picks that we made in this video if you stay to the very end. Okay guys, let's take a look at this Thursday Night Football Showdown between the New England Patriots and the Atlanta Falcons. So at the quarterback position, I like Mac Jones from the New England Patriots playing the Atlanta Falcons, who have the fourth worst defense overall, and they give up the second most fantasy points to opposing quarterbacks. Mac Jones has averaged 14.9 fantasy points per game on the season, getting an average of 1.9 rush attempts per game. He's going to be about 67% owned, projected at 17.6 fantasy points here tonight, and he's 10,600 DraftKings salary. Vegas thinks there's going to be 47 points scored in this game, with the Patriots favored by 6.5. So Mac Jones has scored 20, 8, and 12 fantasy points in his last 3 games. He's got a fantastic matchup here tonight, and he's been improving throughout the season. Now, he hasn't really put up big numbers, so his season average is low, but he does have a great matchup, and it just feels like the last game that he played, everything was clicking. You know, he needed some time in the system, so I think he's kind of made a jump in his rookie season. So I think you're going to save 200 salary here, and I think you're going to have more upside with Mac Jones. Although, don't discount Matt Ryan, who is averaging 18.3 fantasy points per game on the season. He's 10,800 DraftKings salary, so only 200 more than Mac Jones. They're both basically the same price here. And Matt Ryan is projected at 16.5 fantasy points here tonight. He's going to be about 50% owned. Now, Matt Ryan had an awful game last game, scored 3 fantasy points, but he put up 32 fantasy points the game before that. And Matt Ryan has had a pretty good season so far in terms of fantasy. Even though Matt Ryan has a tough matchup, the New England Patriots have a good defense overall, and they've been good versus opposing quarterbacks. Chances are it will be a passing game script here for Matt Ryan. And Cordell Patterson is a little banged up, so they might just have to throw the ball all game long. So Matt Ryan might get a ton of pass attempts here in this game. So although I prefer Mac Jones in this one, I'm also going to have a lineup with Matt Ryan. So I like both of these quarterbacks here tonight.
Before I continue with the picks, I'm excited today because we added a new contest for everyone watching.
If you want to enter the drawing for $25 PayPal,
all you need to do is like this video, hit that subscribe button, and make a quick comment below to be entered into the drawing. We'll reply to a random comment and let you know that you won.
And we'll send you $25 PayPal.
So it's that easy, and we pick a new winner every Saturday and announce them in our video. So get your comment in now so I can add another entry for you.
Okay, let's take a look at the running back position. Now, the running back position for the New England Patriots, this one's interesting because you got Damian Harris coming back from injury, and then you have Ramondre Stevenson, who put up 30 fantasy points last week off of 20 rush attempts and 5 pass targets. So they're both around the same salary. Damian Harris is $8,800 DraftKings salary. Ramon Stevenson is $8,600 DraftKings salary. And they got a good matchup here versus the Falcons, who give up the fourth most fantasy points to opposing running backs. So it looks like the field is going with Ramon Stevenson, and he's going to be about 55% owned compared to Damian Harris, who's going to be about 18% owned. I'm a little hesitant on going with a running back in this game, just because normally I would play or suggest Cordell Patterson from the Atlanta Falcons, but he's $10,200 DraftKings salary, and he was limited in practice, so we got to keep an eye on his injury status, but he is going to be about 50% owned. Granted that he's going to be healthy and he's going to be good to go this game. So I'm really not interested in this running back position. I think I'm going to play the shootout game here. Go with the quarterbacks, the wide receivers, and the tight ends. Just because I think Damian Harris and Ramondre Stevenson are going to share the ball. Cordell Patterson being limited. So I'm going to take my chances at the other positions. But I guess if I were to have to pick one guy here, probably be Ramondre Stevenson coming off of that big game. Looks like the field thinks that that's the guy that's going to get the bulk of the carries and continue the momentum from last week in a good matchup. So that's my take on the running back situation here. Okay, let's take a look at the wide receiver position. I like Jakobi Meyers from the New England Patriots playing the Atlanta Falcons, who have the fourth worst defense overall, and they give up the seventh most fantasy points to opposing wide receivers. Jakobi Meyers has averaged 11 fantasy points per game on the season, getting an average of 7.6 pass targets per game. He's on the field for 87% of the snaps. He's going to be about 45% owned, projected at 12.5 fantasy points here tonight. He's $8,000 DraftKings salary, and this would be my wide receiver play. This would be my favorite wide receiver pick out of all these guys.
Real quick, guys, I got great news. For a limited time, we're offering a full 30-day trial to Draft Dashboard. You can try all of our DFS tools for all sports. Our NBA tools are awesome. This is a great time to get in and try everything for 1 month. The tools are all about saving research time. You can see the last 3 games, the fantasy points per game, the targets they got per game, so you can see how involved they are in the offense, the rushes they got per game. Seeing all this stuff on one screen helps you save time and make better picks. Oh, and if you're tired of doing research every day, we just added a cheat sheet that shows hand-picked plays for the slate. No confusing stat lines, no headaches, just a simple cheat sheet that shows the absolute best players for your lineups. If you compare Jakobi Meyers to Kendrick Bourne from the New England Patriots, you're only paying $400 more DraftKings salary. And Kendrick Bourne is only averaging 4.3 targets per game, where Jakobi Meyers is getting 7.6 targets per game. Now, surprisingly, Kendrick Bourne does have a higher fantasy points per game average at 11.4, but I would prefer to go with Jakobi Meyers, who's likely going to get more pass targets, and Jakobi Meyers is on the field for 87% of the snaps. Kendrick Bourne has only been on the field for 51% of the snaps, and Kendrick Bourne had that big week last week, 24 fantasy points off of 4 pass targets and 3 rush attempts. So I think Kendrick Bourne had his ceiling game last week, so I'm going to go with Jakobi Meyers here versus the Atlanta Falcons. Okay, now for the Atlanta Falcons, I like Russell Gage. And the New England Patriots have a good defense overall. They've been good versus opposing wide receivers. Russell Gage, he's only averaged 6.3 fantasy points per game on the season, getting an average of 4.3 pass targets per game. He's on the field for 63% of the snaps. He's going to be about 23% owned, projected at 8.7 fantasy points here tonight. He's only $6,600 DraftKings salary. And because Vegas thinks that the Falcons are going to be trailing by 6.5, I'm expecting Russell Gage to get plenty of pass targets in this one. Now, last week was just bad for everyone on the Falcons team. Russell Gage scored 0 fantasy points off of 3 pass targets, but he scored 13 fantasy points off of 8 pass targets the game before that. And that's the type of game I'm expecting from Russell Gage here tonight. So I like Russell Gage here versus the New England Patriots. Okay, let's take a look at the tight end position. I like both of the starting tight ends in this game. For the New England Patriots, you got Hunter Henry. In the Atlanta Falcons, they are middle of the pack defending opposing tight ends. Hunter Henry has averaged 10.8 fantasy points per game on the season, getting an average of 4.2 pass targets per game. He's on the field for 71% of the snaps. He's going to be about 20% owned, projected at 10.1 fantasy points here tonight. He's $7,000 DraftKings salary, and Hunter Henry has scored 20, 10, and 4 fantasy points in the last 3 games off of 4, 3, and 3 pass targets. So Hunter Henry has been super productive off of limited passing volume, but if the price is reasonable, and he always seems to manage to get between 10 and 20 fantasy points. The 4 out of his last 5 games, he scored 10 fantasy points or more. So I like Hunter Henry here versus the Atlanta Falcons. Now the stud on the field for the Atlanta Falcons, I like Kyle Pitts. And the Patriots have been good versus opposing tight ends, but Kyle Pitts has averaged 12.5 fantasy points per game on the season, getting an average of 7.1 pass targets per game. He's on the field for 73% of the snaps, going to be about 45% owned, projected at 12.8 fantasy points here tonight. He's $9,600 DraftKings salary. And Kyle Pitts, for me, he's captain material. He has 20, 30 fantasy point upside. He scored 10, 9, and 3 fantasy points in the last 3 games off of 7, 7, and 6 pass targets. So not much from Kyle Pitts the past 3 games, but the 2 games before that, he scored 26 and 30 fantasy points. So he does have some major upside, and I'm expecting him to get close to double-digit pass targets here tonight. So I like Kyle Pitts here versus the New England Patriots.
If you want to try all these daily fantasy tools for yourself, click the link in the description below this video or just go to draftdashboard.com. You can use our DFS lineup optimizer to build quality lineups using our picks and your own custom player pool. Click the link in the description below this video and try all these daily fantasy tools right now. Thanks so much for watching. Oh, and don't forget to subscribe to this channel and hit that bell icon so you can get instant updates whenever we post a new video. Thank you so much for watching, everyone. If you enjoyed this video, please smiggity smash that like button and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Oh, and please comment below with your favorite player for this NFL slate. I love to hear what you guys have to think. Thanks again and good luck.